monsters. Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy. All right, one more time. All right. Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast number 171. We are hosts Phil and Daeron. Today is Wednesday, June 12th, 2019. I'd like to say welcome to everyone out there. Hopefully you're having a great day, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. I am joined by Daeron, the beautiful beauty himself, the Wizard of Wonder, Gandalf's younger brother. How you doing, Daeron?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling a little bit of deja vu. I don't know what that's from, but anyway, doing great. Great to be here, and excellent to have our special guest right down there. I know which way to point, by the way. I don't know why. Loken, how you doing, man?
I'm not doing too badly. Thank you very much indeed for having me, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And you just you were streaming right up till just now.
No, I was literally just streaming and then popped off because I knew I had other engagements and the glorious podcast awaited, and then I'll probably head back on stream after we're finished here.
Wow.
Yeah, it work never stops.
Well, yeah, no doubt.
And of course, we're definitely going to talk about that today. But
now you were streaming Final Fantasy 73 or whatever. What are we at?
I think we're at 458 something. I don't know.
You know what sucks? I make fun of it because I'm on the outside. I know both. Let's see, Phil's over there, and you, Loken, play Final Fantasy. I haven't played a single one. And what are we at? Literally, is it 14? What are we at?
15, I think, right now.
15?
Yeah, 15's the latest.
Yeah, and you're not missing out on some, I should point out.
Well, I know, but everybody's got their favorite, right? I mean, Phil, you have your favorite?
Oh, yeah. But
I can't relate to any Final Fantasy stories ever.
Well, okay, so every story is different between all the games. Like, there's only a handful. They share would you agree, Loken? They share
They have a certain
themes.
common lineage. There's always Crystal somewhere. There's always a Warrior of Light somewhere. Yeah. And there's always a guy called Sid somewhere.
And Sid. And of course, like Earth and mana. And, you've got this. Earth is like a living, breathing sort of entity. And there's always things like that. And there's always good, evil. And then, anyways,
are there mechs?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
Nice. I thought you were going to say no. I thought that was an easy win for me. Anyway, we are joined today by Loken from LokenPlays. Now, I noticed you have I know you changed your account name maybe on something recently, months back. I don't know, but your LokenPlays on everything. Twitch.tv LokenPlays, Twitter.com LokenPlays, Instagram.com LokenPlays, and of course you have your own website LokenPlays.com. Man, that's nice. I'm so jealous.
I know. It took a while, but I got there in the end.
Yeah, branding. Branding
you're
101.
LokenPlays Twitch originally.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's originally, yeah.
Yeah.
You know who also did that recently? He's in chat. Beardole.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
See, fine-tuning your
brand,
your social media.
Yeah, I mean,
your brand.
Yeah,
so
it's really important. Yeah, I mean. Yeah. So, obviously, for everyone out there, we've got Loken on here. He was one of the first ones I wanted to have on. We're going to reach out to Beardole, so make sure you're ready, Beardole. Run all notes, whatever you need to do.
Ready.
Get yourself ready, boy.
But this is something that I've wanted to do for a while. Me and Daeron went back and forth on what kind of format we wanted. And we wanted you on first, Loken, and...
Cool, I'm the guinea pig.
Yeah.
We want to profile you. Basically, that's what these podcasts are. We're going to be profiling all the streamers we know and content creators.
And the reason why we felt this was important is... other content creators in the community, but also streamers, we're going to talk about a wide variety of things, and just sort of pick your brain because, being streamers, we talk about it every single day during chat and we'll ask questions. I literally had someone earlier asking about stream questions. And so to be able to reach out to other streamers in the community and be able to ask them directly as well. Looking forward to this conversation. I think it's good. And
sounds good to me.
Thank you for being here, and of course,
absolutely. Thank you for everybody else. It's nice to do a live podcast again. So thank you all for being here and hanging out. Hopefully, it is everything that you're expecting. Loken, have you ever heard of an elevator pitch?
Can't say I have. No.
Okay, so there's a term called an elevator pitch where, let's say, you get on an elevator with somebody that you want to pitch something to, whether it be a story, a movie, a game, or anything.
Ah, right. I'm with you.
A quick pitch of who you are. Can you give us the LokenPlays elevator pitch? Let us know who you are.
Sure.
Just kind of sum it up. What are you about? etc.?
Okay, so my name is LokenPlays. I create content on Twitch 7 days a week. The theme of my stream is sort of I am a theme streamer who, well, we're aboard a starship and we go around the universe and we get bored in those long journeys, so we play video games for the rest of the crew. I focus on a variety of content and really do have an emphasis on community engagement and making sure that the show and the interaction is the crucial key part of my content.
That is awesome, and that was perfect. Thank you for starting us off with a shining example of how to make an elevator pitch. So that's cool. I love the idea that you're flying around in a spaceship and playing video games with your crew. That's
Basically,
awesome.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes.
I love
And
the
of course,
theme.
there's the sword.
Yeah, I love the theme.
Yes,
I mean, that's
that
something you've
evolved.
always had.
Yeah, it's not something we've always had, actually. It's evolved naturally over time. We were very generic when we first started the broadcast. It was very much the character of the stream has developed organically, you know? So
Yeah.
Okay. So is streaming where you got started in what you would call LokenPlays or Lokonia or all that? Is that where it got started?
So for me personally, my start in content creation, we'll use that as the overarching term, was with streaming. So I was at around 2014. I found a platform called Twitch, and I ended up watching some casters, and I was at the time thinking about doing some YouTube, and I saw this guy called Carnage, who was an amazing broadcaster, fantastic entity on Twitch and a real powerhouse now. And I watched him. He only had like 100 viewers at that point, and I saw this ability to have live interactivity with an audience of people, and that power really was quite intoxicating. So I thought to myself, well, it's a newer platform, let's give it a shot. So for me, yeah, I came from literally nothing, if I'm honest. I didn't have any prior experience in this industry, and it's been an interesting 4 years since then. Yeah, that's where I got my start, basically. I just started from nothing and just thought, one day I'll throw the live button on, and haven't stopped since, really.
But let me ask you there. Is there a why to that? Like, because there are a lot of people that, like, fuck that. I don't want to be on camera. Like, or I don't want anybody to hear my voice. Like, I hate my voice when I, sort of thing. Like, what was there a drive behind like that interaction?
Yeah, there was definitely a drive for it, for sure. So at that particular point in my personal life, I just sort of come off what was quite a low point in my life. So our family had suffered quite badly from bankruptcy. We'd been upended and uprooted from our original lives. I'd lost all my friends and everything, and I was sort of in a limbo state. And I saw streaming as a way of which I could be sociable without being sociable, without putting myself in a position where I felt vulnerable at that point. It was as much a therapy as anything else to me. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose? I'm sitting here doing nothing. At least this gives me something to do.
How long ago was that?
That was about 4 years ago. So, since then I've gone through some pretty aggressive therapy and, got through a lot of depression and social anxieties as well. I honestly have to be honest with you, the culmination of that achievement was going to MechCon last year and enjoying it and having a good time. And that because the year before I was terrified. I have been terrified with crowds of people, but I felt comfortable enough to be relaxed. And I don't know, it's really helped me along the way, streaming, having that as a goal and an ambition and something to focus my time on.
That's really cool, man. To get into the positive side of that, and obviously the struggle informs who we become as people, and thank you for sharing that.
That's no problem.
And that's an interesting path into streaming. Where did the name Loken come from? Lokonia, all that. When you decided, okay, this is something I want to do to try and maybe tackle some of my my fears or deal with what's going on in my life, how do you go from that idea to LokenPlays and Lokonia and streaming games?
So honestly, the path is It's an interesting one because it wasn't linear by any stretch of the imagination. It's not like I came into it and thought to myself, I have exact branding and this is exactly how I want to go about business. And some people you see on Twitch who start up, they know exactly what they're doing, they know who they are, what they're doing, they have an established kind of idea of what they want to be, and they become, well, some of them become powerhouses on the platform. For me, it was a case of, well, Loken was as an alias I've had for many years prior to this for gaming on the Xbox 360 and all that business. Now, I was Loken on fragging people on Halo 3 and such. So for me, it was just sort of a natural. I already responded to it as a name, so I thought, well, I might as well use it, and well, I needed a prefix for it being the content creator. So LokenPlays was a culmination of that, really. I thought to myself, well, people on Twitch have such crazy names anyway, like Co-Carnage and Bike Man and things like that. And so I just thought, well, you know what, I'll roll the dice on that. But with regards to the rest of how the theme came to be, that's just been organic. It really has been organic. It started from very, very generic, kind of just a dude sitting in a hoodie playing some video games with a crappy microphone and a crappy camera. And it's sort of over time, it's sort of, well, I needed some sort of entity to kind of make people feel more like they were a part of something. So, the Knights of Loconia sort of became the subscription club, if you want to mean the sub club, and it just sort of all culminated from there, really.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. I was mentioning this earlier. If you're a new streamer, you don't have to have all the answers, and you won't have. Like you're 100% right. I mean, same thing as far as like your evolution of your channel, right? As you've grown, as you've solidified things, even your equipment and stuff like that. You're gonna start off. I just upgraded this mic. I actually asked you. I mean, I had a Blue Yeti, $100, $100, $90, whatever I paid for my Yeti for 6 years, and I just upgraded. Same thing. So like, I definitely encourage people if you're listening. Loken's story is 100% like you don't have to have the answer, and you'll refine things and you'll adopt things. And one of the things that I've done because of you is really pay attention the aesthetic and overlays and sort of how everything blends, the theme of it, if you will. Like that's one thing I noticed right off the bat when you came into the MWO streaming community was I was like, where the fuck did this guy come from? Like like everything looks super nice, everything's on point. He's got it like across the board, and that's one thing I will say, whether you know it or realize it or not, your I would say
you got your shit together.
Yeah, the professional professional look of your stream and how you go about it. Your
presentation is
your everything, and it forces me to sort of go like, okay, well, I need to. Can I do anything better?
Phil.
Yeah, I mean, wow. and that happens quite a bit. And I guess that's what I'm saying is like out there, if you're a newer streamer too, always look to other streamers that and
it's not stealing. Sure. It's inspiration.
Exactly.
It's not stealing at all.
Like, did you got ideas from Co? I'm assuming.
Oh, absolutely. No, I always I have a plethora of people I follow. Some of which I enjoy their content. Some of which I don't enjoy the content per se.
But you still
I really like what they do and how they present their content. And so I will go to them and look at what the big boys are doing, whether they're the top of the game guys doing, and try and distill some ideas down into my own content to improve my stuff. And
speaking of, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's basically the way I've done it thus far, and I've continued to do it. So,
well, keep doing it because you're definitely doing it right, and I can mirror Phil as far as when I saw you come into the community. I could obviously tell you had your production side down and knew what you were doing, and that's nice to see.
It's nice to think you knew. It's nice to know that people thought I knew what I was doing, because God knows.
Hey, all that matters is perception. So,
absolutely.
Internally, if you don't, that's okay. But speaking of Co, because actually I saw there's some Twitch drama going on right now, and I thought I'd just interject this for fun. Did you guys see his comments on the big Dr. Disrespect issue yesterday?
Yep. I did not see his comment.
So, I haven't seen his comments, but I've seen the comments that have been coming out from that.
Mm-hmm. So, for those that don't know, Dr. Disrespect, I don't know what he get, a 24-hour ban? Something like that one day?
Has he come back onto the platform again?
I haven't seen him today, but what I do know is that he got banned for filming inside men's bathrooms at at
Yeah,
E3.
that's That's
What are your
like
thoughts
no
on that?
shit. Like what do you think? Like come on.
It's against
like,
the fucking law,
so-
number one.
Well,
Yeah.
he was blows my mind. It's like how smart and intelligent. It's like if it would have just been him in a bathroom by himself, I think that would have been fine.
Yeah.
But what were
the
you
thing
thinking?
is that
Well, I don't
From-
even know if
from-
that'd be fine. It might still be.
I don't know. I mean, for me personally, my opinion on this is an absolute complete breach of TOS,
Yeah.
and it is also it's against the law. This is against a lot of people's privacy rights and
Yes. Oh, well, they were
television.
totally. I was watching it live. They were literally filming people taking a piss and
Yeah.
coming out of the stalls, and I'm
Yep.
just like, oh my god, one of these
Well,
people are just going to come up and hit you.
So okay, obviously I don't want to get derailed on that, but yes, you know, Code.
Well, the reason. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, the reason I brought up Ko is because he was addressing it like I thought it should be addressed, which is Ko's always been very professional.
Yeah.
And I feel mature. And so his thought was, number one, duh. You know, just the laws behind it. But number two, the ban, he almost felt like disrespect doesn't care. It's just 24 hours. It kind of gives him a break from streaming, and he's back on and nothing matters. So he was calling for basically bigger bans or more meaningful, you know, punishments or whatever.
There needs to be something in because the fact of the matter is, I try to state this as professionally as possible. So I keep an eye and keep up to date with the various Twitch controversies, dramas, things that are going out, and how they affect the platform as a whole. Because what they do with the bigger broadcasters will give you an insight into how the platform as a whole deals with these situations, and it sets a precedent for the future. And as far as I can see, right now Twitch is far too lenient on large scale casters who are the big dollar broadcasters when it comes to them flagrantly breaching terms of service, and it doesn't set a particularly good precedent for the rest of the platform. You know, and it looks bad on the rest of us as professionals on the stream platform, Twitch, that, you know, a member of our, you know, maybe, okay, a couple of steps removed, but a member of our community of broadcasters has gone and literally, you know, literally broken laws and gets a 24-hour ban. And if anything, the amount of controversy that's been generated would probably give him more attention than he had to begin with.
Speaking of which, let's move on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get your take on it.
No, it's fine. There you go. You've got it.
Well,
There
I
we
mean,
go.
it goes to, I guess, you know, what you say live can and will be used against you at any point. I mean, and you do have to be very aware of what you say and how you say it, because, of course, everything's out there.
Oh, yeah. It's all live and it's uncut, so you got one take.
Have you ever ran into, I guess, differences because, you know, you're from the UK? Has there ever been something where you were taken back, like someone maybe got offended by something you said that was like normal, like, you know?
A lot of times. At times, my I can be quite dry and sarcastic. You know, Blackadder levels of sarcasm at times, and if a person isn't perhaps aware of that being a humor form, then I've had multiple people go, you know, well, this was just, you know, the X, Y, and Z. I've had messages galore, people telling me that I've said, you know, things that were hurtful. I've had to, on more than one occasion, write a sort of an apology, almost saying that was not the intention. I am a UK-based broadcaster, and as a result, even though, and I have actually toned it down quite a lot more recently to try and make sure these things don't happen, especially as I stream EST, so I stream for the American audience more than anything else. That I didn't mean anything by it, and it's not a you know, something I intended to be hurtful or anything. I was just sort of, for us, it's quote unquote banter, you know, and yeah, no, it's happened to me more than once.
You're like, that's what we call cigarettes out here, guys. Yeah, I mean, you know, we've been doing this, Phil and I have been doing this for like 9 years, whatever. And definitely, I think early on, we learned our lesson on certain things that, you know, we never do this setting out with the intention to offend people and hurt people. And I think you got to, that's part of becoming a professional broadcaster, Twitch streamer, whatever, is learning, you know, what your own comfort zone is and so forth. I mean, there's some people that do set out to offend, whatever, different strokes.
Well, I mean, there's been times, Daeron, I remember it's probably been about 4 years now, like, you know, where we had someone reach out to us like, hey, I know you probably didn't mean this, but just to let you know, that word offends me. like, hey, when you were talking about, and use this term, and it was one of those things where like I've learned like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that was an issue. But okay, hey, cool, that's out of our vocabulary, and again, it goes back to like the professionalism. You want to make sure everyone's comfortable when they come to your channel. And
absolutely.
But speaking of the professionalism, that again is something that I've always felt you've always had. That's not something that in the time we've known you, I don't feel like it's something you've learned. You came to the table, you came to the community with that professionalism. But back to the topic of you. Are you? Yes, back to you. Are you streaming full time? Is this this is what you do, or do you have other things going on?
For me personally, this is so I stream with the intention of being full time. So what I mean by that is, although at the present moment in time the amount of revenue generated from the cast isn't enough to what I call be a full time career option right now, it's something I'd love to do, and it's something I do. I do stream 7 days a week, so I do stream every day for at least around about 4 to 6 hours, give or take. But on the side of that, I am doing a master's degree right now as well. So for me, it was really important to have something I absolutely adored and loved, but also have a sort of quote-unquote contingency plan, because the industry is really volatile and you have no idea where you're going to end up. So maybe it won't work out. Maybe it might not, go the plan that you had, and so having a degree, I have my undergraduate degree now, and doing a master's means that, maybe after a couple of years, okay, fine, it's not working out, I can go and get a job and in the industry and be good, So it was about making sure I have a plan B.
That's pretty awesome to hear. Most people don't have the plan B. I know a lot of people that are trying to become full-time streamers, but don't have that plan B. What do you mind? Do you share what you're?
Whoa. Okay. Was that me or
no? It's
okay.
Zoom, or we have Pro with them. We pay every single month, and it's like, hey, your free thing. It's like it's not free. Just apologize.
This is the excitement of live.
This is a stream, baby. This is if it's not blown up, you're not doing it right.
I don't understand how that's even. We pay for this.
Live from North Carolina, Washington, and England. It's the Wednesday night show. Anyway, what was I asking?
You're about would you mind sharing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so I know where I'm at once we get video back.
Hi everyone, how you doing?
Okay, you know that pain.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just go ahead and jump into the questions so that we're not waiting.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you share what you're studying? Do you share what your major is or what degree you're going after?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, that's not a secret at all. I'm a games art design student, so basically the artistic side of art, well, games production. Effectively, that's what I do on a regular basis. So when I'm not studying, I'm working on that. So I got my undergraduate degree end of last year, and then I moved into doing a 2-year master's course this year, basically.
That's awesome, man.
Invites.
Yeah, I felt it also kind of helped the whole side of what I'm doing anyway, because it's relevant, knowing and understanding how games are created can really actually help influence and inform your commentary, because I critique stuff as well as everything else. So if you know how it's made, or at least have an insight, it can kind of help. Also, wow, I dig that new cheer and tip thing. That thing's legit.
We've got
look at that overlay, it's so sweet. I love it. Don't worry, I'm a sucker for production value.
No problem. Loken, I sent you on Discord.
Oh, sweet. Sorry, I'll quit gushing over your production value.
We can gush all over each other. So now, how much longer do you have to get your degree?
So I've got about a year. So basically, my first year's completed. I have a second year to do, and then that's done, basically.
Now, are those kinds of schools in England let's see, what's the word I want to use for this? Are they profit-driven like the trade schools out here? Like basically, if you go to one of those types of, I don't know if you're going to a trade school, if you're going to a university, whatever.
No, it's okay.
Out here, those types of trade schools, a lot of them are when you're done, you just have a huge student debt?
Yeah, so unfortunately, what happened was I am going to a full bore university, so it actually comes under the art school of that university. They recognize it as
Very
an
cool.
art form, so which is nice because you've got all the facilities of classic arts and all the rest of that business. It's great for concepting if you want if you want to go and paint a picture, you can type thing. But for us, what happened was a couple of years ago they changed the way the fee structure worked here in the UK. It was a big deal. Everyone was really angry about it. And it changed to a point where they boosted the per yearly fees from £2,000 to £9,000 per year.
That's a huge
it's a
change.
massive increase. And then, basically, the only thing I can say which is good is that they do not start charging you for those repayments, because you do take out a student loan, until you're earning, I think, a living salary of £25,000 or more. So basically, they wait until you've got yourself into a job before they'll start charging you for it, which is, it's at least it takes the sting out of it a little, but
a little bit.
It's not great, It's not amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's better than what we got out here. So have you always been interested in video games? Like, what's your earliest memory of video games? What got you interested enough to want to go to school to stream them? What captured your interest in the
Honestly,
video games?
yeah, video games have always been a passion for me. It started later than I think other kids out there. For me personally, it was a case of I got 1 year at Christmas. I was gifted this little tiny sort of baby blue device thing called a Game Boy Color, and I was like, "This is like an arcade machine, but you can play it in your hands." I was like, "Cool." What the hell is that? And oh, here you go. Here's a copy of Pokemon Blue version. And yeah, addiction started, and I didn't stop after that, basically. That was my earliest memory. So then I had like a, PS1, Nintendo 64, that kind of thing, L cartridge era stuff, and, well, end of cartridge era and beginning of sort of, CD era things. But no, it's always been a huge thing for me, because and it plays into what I do at university. I like imagining things. I have a creative mind. And so being able to immerse myself in worlds and in locations that can't exist, and not only watch them on sort of television or read about them in books, but actually interact with them, is hugely powerful to me. And it's a very alluring sort of prospect. So it's something that's always been, I've been passionate about, basically, ever since.
It's funny, growing up playing video games. I mean, Daeron, might have been the same thing for you, like in like arcades, I know, where you'd be playing and you'd have buddies watching. Like, I remember playing GoldenEye and all those games where...
Oh, GoldenEye, legend.
Right? So, like...
You always had like 3 or 4 people around you at least watching.
Yeah, and so I feel like that's another thing with like streaming, especially if you're like playing MWO, you're playing a PvP game, but like sometimes with a story and quests, stuff like that, again, it's almost like just watching your buddy or brother or sister or whatever just sort of play.
It definitely has that.
There's
definitely has an aspect of that for sure.
Right? I mean, there's something. That's why it's funny. Is like anybody's like, I've talked to, why would you watch someone play video games? And I'm like, hold on, you watch the NFL all the time in hockey. Like, it's it's the exact like,
that's the result. Usually when I tell older people, that there's these people out there that can get 50,000, 100,000 plus people watching them stream video games. It boggles their mind. But it's just an extension of when we were kids in arcades. For me, when I was a kid in an arcade, you always had a group of people behind you watching you play, and then you put your quarters up on the thing, and the next person goes, and then you're watching, and it's just an extension of what we've already been doing for decades. But obviously, we're able to reach a much broader audience.
And then there's something to be said about like watching someone who's really good at it. It's like like watching Shroud play. Like, I'm just like, so that's what it's like to be on top of the world and just wreck face. And, like, I remember we were tuning in one time because I watched Twitch on our TV in the family room. And my wife was like, so who are you watching? I was like, oh, I'm watching Shroud, he wrecks face. And she literally said, oh, sort of like what he's doing right now. I'm like, yeah, that's yeah, but there's something just really enjoyable about sharing that experience and story with others. I don't know.
The
It's just
player, watching a professional player work is really it's like watching a professional sportsman play or a professional artisan do their job. It's always really interesting watching them, even if you don't quite get what's going on, or you don't know all the plays or whatever. It's just something quite amazing watching someone who's a master at what they do.
And then being being with a group, I don't know, playing games by yourself, I guess, isn't as enjoyable anymore. Like I think there's a case in point for that. Like I'm sure you probably play games offline just by yourself. For the most part, I generally stream, and so it's just that connection level, and I don't know, I really enjoy
social activity.
So
it is a social activity, yeah.
You mentioned the Game Boy. I know you're a Final Fantasy fan.
Sort of.
Sort of. What was your favorite game? Like, what was it when you sat down and you're like,
well,
all you thought about was that game? Like, what was the very first game that you just were like
that you got addicted to?
You wanted to get home. You fuck homework. You just honestly, one more match before bed.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, for me, it was Halo. For me,
really?
That was Halo. Yeah, that was when it. So I was sort of into games, but not into games until I got a little older. From getting the Game Boy stuff, so I kind of played it casually with my friends, but my parents are fairly strict, so it was it was very, very heavily moderated. Then as I got older, it got a little more lax, and I don't know, I got into it. And then Halo for me was like the thing,
like the first one.
Yeah, not the first one though. Actually, for me, I actually got into it at Halo 2, Halo 3. For me, that was where it was at, because Halo 1 came out 2003, and I didn't have an original Xbox, an Xbox 360, so. Yeah, but when that came out, that was my first time I've really played a game where I was enthralled by its universe. I was drawn into this lore, and I was desperate to learn more about it from the story. This freaking giant, badass power armored dude in green armor, stomping around the place, kicking the Covenant's ass. And then, after that, I then realized there was a multiplayer section to this, and I was like, well, okay, what's this then? Oh my god, I can go up against people, and I started to get me into multiplayer shooters. So that for me was my first real addiction.
That game was pretty revolutionary. I remember when it went live, and that was also sort of a tumultuous period for PCs, because you had this mixture of, it was going from like 2D to 3D, and the horsepower there just wasn't. And then here comes this console and Halo, it looked stunning. Like,
yeah.
And the story was something we hadn't really seen before. The visuals, the emotional connection you had with the Cortana and then Master Chief, and just how excited are you for the upcoming
show, right?
Well, no, the title, a new one, but
there's
then
all kinds
also
of new content.
They're redoing all of them and releasing them on PC.
So it's what's the right word I'm looking for here? Hyped is an understatement. There are lots of amazing games I'm really looking forward to coming up. Cyberpunk 2077, for example, the remake of Final Fantasy VII is coming up soon. And also the Halo Master Chief collection, that they're bringing all of the Xbox-centric games to PC, which is where I feel they belong. I feel they were always supposed to be on the PC, and finally they're coming to a platform where they, will look the best. They'll play at 60 FPS. They'll be able to change the FOV and things, and all of those things that matter to PC-centric gamers, but also just in general for what I think is the most authentic experience. But also, I mean, I was doing the restreams of the press conferences for E3 just a couple of days ago, and when I saw the Halo Infinite trailer, and I literally flipped my shit. I was like, oh my god, this is it. This is gonna be a thing, and it was great. So there's a lot of really good stuff to be excited about right now. It's a lot of really exciting stuff coming down the pipeline for a lot of games, actually.
I would have never Halo.
Never guessed Halo.
Well, I don't know.
Is it a show or a movie?
How old are you, Loken?
26.
Okay, well that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. No, and I'm just thinking about the time frame when, when that game came out, you would have been a lot younger.
Well, for me, it was like, the games I remember most clearly were, for example, Halo, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. The first, second games. I spent hours on those on the multiplayers. First Mass Effect, for example, for me from BioWare, that was my first BioWare RPG. Oblivion from Bethesda, and then Skyrim as well. These are all like the games for me that were like these milestones, that just sort of came out, and I was like, whoa, blown away type thing.
26. You guys are both baby face. You're always going to look younger than you really are.
I didn't realize he was 26 though. I was like, hold on.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought he was younger. I feel like me next, in this stream over here next to you guys, it's like, don't do drugs. Because I was like, him. That's the before and after.
I was when I was in Afghanistan, he was like, he's still in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Like even earlier than that. Yeah.
So now, do you do any other? I didn't see a YouTube channel. Is this the only?
So I do have a YouTube channel, but I've been extremely neglectful of it, and I should. Okay. It's actually one of my plans this year to sort of revamp it and launch it again. Yes, because somebody has been on me on that one, and I do agree with them, as they know. So yeah, it's one of the things I want to do is revamp.
So important.
It is. Important. No, you're right. It is important. It is. Because it's another source of getting eyes on all the content you create,
Yes.
And it's also a very nice way of archiving videos.
So if you do start that, they'll be able to see that if they just go to LokenPlays.com, right? You'll put it up there as well.
Yeah, so my website will have a link to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is literally /LokenPlays. Everything is branded the same way. So just type LokenPlays and you're good to rock.
But streaming is your main content that you're creating.
Yeah. So I think irrespective of whether or not I start the YouTube channel, my core focus will probably be on streaming, just because I enjoy the platform and the ability to, like I said, communicate and converse with the community in real time. That will never get old for me. So that's...
Sorry to interrupt.
No, go on. That's why I want.
Well, the ability to share that time and communicate with your audience and your fans and so forth. Is that the best thing about streaming? That was my question, is what's the best thing about streaming? There's pros and cons, obviously.
There are a lot of pros and cons, yeah. I mean,
is that the best thing, though?
Yeah, so streaming is an interesting conundrum because the highs are extremely high and the lows are very low, and you are a one-man band, effectively. You are on your own for the most part, and your choices are your choices, and you hope to God that you get it right and you've enticed enough new community members to join you on your endeavors. But no, streaming can be exceptionally rewarding when you've got an active chat and you've got people who are chatting to you, and you've actually formed relationship with some of your community members, and you know how their day has been, or you ask them, oh, so how did the job interview go, for example? You feel genuine, like, yeah, you got that, nailed it, badass. It's not just your X, Y, or Z, username. You are a person that I know. Now, I don't know if that can be maintained in a larger cast, but at least right now, on my particular size, I have the luxury of forming an intimate connection with, hopefully, many of the people who come and watch my content. So that definitely is one of the highlights for streaming. And also generosity. People can be extremely generous with their time and their comments, and also, in some instances, helping you achieve goals. Shameless plug, but we just did a St. Jude's charity stream not too long ago, and we raised about $700 for charity, which was amazing. I didn't expect to even get close to that. And also when we did the autumn stuff together, again, we came together as a community, and we raised over 5 Gs for autism awareness. It was an amazing achievement. So that is extremely rewarding.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
And it's funny. Me and you've talked about it offline, Loken, about the lows as well, and it's something that I feel like a lot of people. It's not a talked about subject as well. I think that goes hand in hand. I mean, because how Twitch is set up is very one-sided, right?
Yeah. It's a very, very aggressive platform. It's very one-sided. It's very much geared toward showcasing the highest numbered person in a particular category. So say, for example, you look at Fortnite, you see the first person there might be Ninja, so I'm just using that as a very generic example, but the point is that it can mean that a lot of amazing talent and people who are genuinely good at what they do get squashed underneath a lot of other people, and it can be very demoralizing.
Yeah, and
so it's a tough industry to break into. I've dealt with a lot of I've worked in entertainment since I was in my late teens, and that tends to be anytime you get a job where people can view it maybe as an easy job, or not a typical 9 to 5 or whatever, more entertainment based people. It tends to become one of those things like being a rock star. Everybody wants to do it, and everybody's trying, and so you get like the market is inundated or whatever. What do you have any ideas, solutions for somebody goes to Twitch, they click on Fortnite? How do you bring up some of those better streamers that have low numbers because nobody knows about them, as compared to some streamers that have lower numbers that maybe there's a reason they have them, lower numbers? How do you get that?
It's a complicated conundrum because, generally speaking, Twitch is not particularly well geared towards showcasing new talent and up-and-coming talent, and it's a shame, actually, because it's a technological standpoint which could be sorted out, and I think they're taking steps to make that a reality. But right now, really, the fundamental is you go onto a platform and and if you're a new guy, you'll just click on whatever game you're interested in, and likelihood is you look at maybe the first 5-10 people in that row when you're scrolling, and that's about what you're going to give them, because you'll probably find someone you like at that point within that sort of pool, and so there may be 100 other people underneath you aren't going to get a chance. Now, one thing I do know which is quite good is that you can browse by category of games. So, for example, you like MechWarrior Online, for example. Let's use that one. You can follow that category on Twitch, and then it will showcase a smaller profile of people who are basically stream that content, or in the recommended section of your personal profile, once you've spent a little time on the platform, it'll showcase, well, this guy makes content on this game which you followed, you might want to check him out, type thing. So they're starting to get better, but at the moment, it's still a case of, if you really want to try and find someone new, you've got to take the initiative as an individual viewer and find them, really,
Yeah, and
at least from that standpoint.
And yeah, you're right. They have been taking steps, because one of the things we've talked about is the problem is let's actually reverse this. What works really well? YouTube. You go to YouTube. Let's just say you search for whatever Final Fantasy VII remake. Boom, you type it in. It's gonna list out videos as far as relevance to you. Okay, I'm gonna click this video. I'm gonna watch it, and on the right side, it's gonna say you may also like. And
exactly, super powerful.
Yeah, and how many times do you go down a rabbit's hole and you've been watching YouTube for like an hour and a half?
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, though. It's so powerful. I mean, Google has invested so many millions of dollars in these amazingly complicated algorithms to allow this flow of content, to allow viewers who have, they'll use so many different things. So you get similar styles of content as well. If you're into more jokey people who have made Final Fantasy VII content, they'll have that for you. And it's a crazy algorithm that I don't even know how it works, but
I think, but it's not just the algorithm. I think it's how it's presented. Like if you go to Twitch, I just went to Twitch, and so I'm looking at MWO, and on the left, I can see all the channels I followed, and then right underneath that, it says recommended channels. So that's newer, and that's good. Yeah. And so people that may know you or watch MWO, they may pop up there, and so, okay, cool. But the thing is, like, when I look at YouTube and I look at Twitch, as far as the layout, I think they'll get there. The problem is,
they will.
From a Twitch perspective, it's a business, right? And so they're looking at all those people. When someone, let's just say, in this case, a big streamer, they have 50,000 people watching them. One, Amazon's making money every single time an ad plays, and the more people, the more money, subscriptions like that too. And so it's just one of those where I think there's a bit of luck too, but as a streamer, you need to be very aware of what games you stream. And I should say,
absolutely,
if you're a streamer looking to grow and not just be a casual just streamer, if you're looking at it as from a business sense of, hey, I would like to do this maybe one day as a full-time thing, this be my career, you have to be very aware. Case in point, if I'm going to be streaming Apex Legends, I'm not going to grow. Now, some people would be like, well, you could. No, you're not. I'm literally one of thousands of people streaming. No one's ever going to find you. No one's going to hit that follow button. You need to be aware of what games. And
absolutely.
And you don't necessarily have to like that. You don't have to like that. That's the way it is. But if you're not aware of it,
it's important. I think I want to make a point on that one, actually, and it's important to enjoy what you're doing on the platform. So, don't stream just because it's going to give you growth or whatever. But conversely as well, it's about also you need to make sure that a lot of instances when you stream games content, if you're doing it in a professional manner, not just for like fun and just literally just for fun, then you're gonna have to remember it's more about the show. It's more about the presentation of the content itself rather than the actual game. So, it's not necessarily you're gonna absolutely adore every day. Sometimes you will have days you just like you don't want to go live or whatever. But that is something that needs to be said. It's very, very important to know where you're at, have know which sort of game you want to play, and understand that environment surrounding that game on Twitch, because it's its own ecosystem. There will be a personality to stream that game more often than not, and then the fun begins.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I didn't mean for those listening, I didn't mean play games that you don't like. I'm saying is, if you like a game and it's big and you're looking at growing and there's no chance in hell, stream something that you like but is smaller. And that sort of brings into MWO. MWO is in my opinion, a great place for newer streamers, because at any given time you're not competing. I know that word's sort of convoluted because it's not competing in a sense what you might be thinking, but when you pull it up, there's not 1,000 different streamers, and
there's a far higher opportunity for you to be clicked on, and then when you get the click, there's an opportunity for you to potentially grow your audience by a new member, because they might enjoy what you create. So the more opportunity you give yourself to be noticed, the better your growth is going to be, and the healthier your stream will be.
I have a question for you, Loken. If you were a newer streamer, if someone is clicking on my channel, what are some things that I should be aware of? Like, is there any just quick bullet points, as Daeron said, an elevator? Is there anything that you would tell someone who's new to streaming? Hey, when someone clicks on this channel, these are a few things that you may want to have in order, and they'll stick around.
So absolutely, video and audio clarity as best as you can, because obviously you're not going to have the highest end equipment when you first start, because you're not going to want to invest thousands of dollars into amazing professional grade equipment. But generally speaking, having a good, clean looking cast in terms of the quality of the video. Same again with the microphones. You're not peaking everywhere if you're sort of yelping in joy because you've got a kill on someone or whatever. Clean graphics. So what I mean by that is overlays. So just it doesn't have to break the bank or be the the next best thing. Just something that's clean, gets the job done, gets it across, and alerts so that people feel as though that people like to be made a little bit of a fuss of, So if somebody follows your channel or subs to you, they want to have a bit of a fuss. I have a knighting ceremony. When anyone, subscribes to my stream, I knight them, And it's a bit of a thing. It might be a little bit camp or silly, but it's the thing that we do. It gives a bit more personality. That's something you can develop later, but generally speaking, having alerts set up, ready to go. When it comes to you as a person, as a new streamer, I think my best advice would be and it sounds so cliche, but be honest and be yourself. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's the truth, because people are very good at telling when people are not being honest or genuine about something. They will kind of know if you're putting it on a bit, and you have to be in front of a camera for a long time trying to maintain a facade for whatever it is or whatever it might be you're doing is so difficult. I tried originally to have a PG stream where I wasn't using swear words, and it was interesting. We did it for about 6 months, and I just went fuck it, and that was that.
Wow. 6 months?
I did it for 6 months because I wanted to try it, and I couldn't do it. And it was stifling my own content. So I just said, well, you know what, I'm going to make it sort of a it's not, we're not swearing every 5 seconds, but if something goes wrong, we'll say, well,
yeah,
X, Y, or Z, So be honest, be yourself. Don't try and reinvent the wheel when you first start. Just enjoy what you're doing, enjoy your gaming, be passionate about what you're doing, and I think it will work. And just be consistent. That's the last thing. Be consistent. It's so hard when you start, but be consistent.
I was gonna say, unless you're gonna, I guess, role play a certain character.
Yeah. Well, like we were talking about disrespect earlier. I'm thinking he's not being himself, but
But it's a character. right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's all subjective anyway, because obviously for Loken, being himself is incredibly important, and that's part of
I
what
mean,
makes his show and who he is.
I am myself, but also I do play a bit of a character as well. I do play a little bit
Sure.
of a, it's
We all
easy,
put on a show a little bit,
yeah, I
right?
just put him a bit show. I'm a captain,
Yeah.
so I'm like, yes, I know exactly what I'm doing, and everything's fine. And even when things blow up, no, it was your fault, not mine.
Yep,
That
yep.
type of thing. So, but I am honest with people, and if they ask me an honest question, I'll give them a genuine response.
yeah, yeah. So speaking of MWO, did you have any previous experience with BattleTech MechWarrior before you? And then
I did
also,
actually, yes.
Second part of that question, how did you cover MWO?
How did we get lucky enough to get you in our community?
Yeah.
So
into MechCon?
for the first question, yes, I did have some previous exposure to it. My first exposure to MechWarrior was actually MechWarrior 4 Vengeance, and I had a buddy who had a very tech savvy dad, and they had like a joystick controller thing, all this lovely at the time amazing computer. And he says, "Oh, come over here! I've got this really cool game to show you." I'm like, "What is it?" It's called MechWarrior. I'm like, "The hell is MechWarrior? It sounds weird." And then, so I go and sit down. And it's like, no, look, you get to be this gigantic robot thing. And I'm a young kid at this point, There's this gigantic robot thing. You can stomp around and stuff. You can, here you press the trigger and things. Like, oh, all right, then I'll give it a go. And by the end of that day, we just done nothing but play MechWarrior, and I was pretty hooked by that point. We didn't have a particularly good computer, so I ended up kind of like going for the next best thing, which is Mech Commander 2. So I played that to death. And then the whole thing went quiet for ages until we got MechWarrior Online. And to go into question 2, how did I find MechWarrior Online? I miss MechWarrior, and I heard about that. I backed the game as an Ultimate Tier founder when they first announced the project, and I was looking forward to MechWarrior 5 being a thing, and obviously stuff happened and it became MechWarrior Online, and so yeah, I've been on and off the game for a while. I will be honest, I didn't particularly like the way that the things were being handled before PGI left their publisher, and so I sort of let's just say I voted with my wallet and decided not to buy into the clan invasions, and I left the game for a while. And then much later down the line, I had some people on my stream said, "Oh, you should try MechWarrior Online again, Loken. You might like it." And I said, "Oh, MechWarrior Online? You mean that game that was paid to win? Psh, I'm playing that game. Go home." And I, no, it's changed. It's great now. They're self-published, and it's all different and things about it. I'm like, "Oh, all right, then fair enough. I'll give it a go." And well, here I am. Basically, been doing it for about. I think it's been primary content in my stream now for about 2 years. I say primary because I do variety casts, but it's always been a cornerstone for the last 2 years now.
Yeah,
well,
so
we are super glad you found us. And was it literally just like a Google search, or did you say somebody told you about it and that's how you found
So originally, when it came to MechWarrior Online, it was literally a case of we heard announcements about it in my little group of friends at that point, and I liked games, and I thought, well, that's awesome, a new generation of MechWarrior. I haven't played that game since Mech Commander 2, So, all right, let's give it I'll take a look at it. Thought it looked badass, so I, put money down for it, and yeah, played it for a little while, enjoyed it a lot. But like I said,
Did you dabble in BattleTech at all when it came out? Are you interested in it? Are you now that MechWarrior 5 is coming out? Are you excited about that as well?
So, are we talking BattleTech the tabletop or BattleTech the game?
Either both.
So tabletop, I missed out on, which I really, really lament actually, because saw it at MechCon last year, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty badass. But BattleTech, the game, for Harebrained Schemes, yeah, loved it. Luckily at that point, I was fairly well established as a streamer, so I was able to get in contact with Paradox Interactive and put something together. So I was able to stream it early at launch, and I've absolutely adored it. Truly fabulous, fabulous game. And I've just been doing urban warfare content actually on it, so it's a really, really, really fabulous game. Beautifully presented, gorgeous music by John Everest, fantastic all around.
Absolutely. Well, welcome, officially to the community. It's good to,
Thank you.
Obviously, like you said, you played MechWarrior back in the day or whatever, but it's cool I like hearing from people that kind of little things get into their life and they become more and more a part of this community, and you're worthy of the community for sure.
Did you
Thank you very
play
much.
Mech Assault?
Didn't actually know. I'll be honest. I didn't ever play Mech Assault.
You got
I played
Halo, and you didn't play.
Yeah, didn't play Mech Assault. No, I didn't. I went off. I don't know if I went off. I just kind of I had a period of time where I wasn't very good at finding new games, as they were like thrust into my face by conventional journalism and media. Like, this is the new game, you know? Like Halo 3, I saw it because I was walking around an electronics store and the Halo 3 trailer was playing on every PC monitor that they were advertising to buy, and I was like, whoa, oh man, that's awesome. I want that. You know, so I hadn't become sort of savvy in watching video game development and things until a little later.
Has your studies influenced your gaming at all?
Yeah, we really have actually. I give a lot more games a chance now than I used to. I used to be very set in certain genres that I would only play that genre and nothing else. And then game studies and just learning about the way they work and indie titles as well. Some stuff which is a little bit more artistic, perhaps. Yeah, definitely I'll give more stuff a go now. That's also the stream's influence as well. You know, I used to be have a very, very limited scope, and it's broadened a lot now.
Well, you know what? I'm going to let that, unless you want to
no
respond to that. I'm going to let that lead into the final question that I had. We can keep talking about other stuff. But since you are studying game design and you have kind of opened yourself to trying other games and maybe appreciation for other games because you're getting a better idea of what goes into designing games and making games. If you could design any game right now, let's say you had the funding, you had the team, and it was just like, okay, this is going to be Loken's game, whatever he wants. What would you design? What would you make?
Honestly, and it's no secret for a lot of people out there that I'm a massive 40k nerd. I'm a huge fanboy of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. I think most people know that who know me. I would absolutely make it my goal to create a sort of a Mass Effect style RPG set in that universe and bring it the justice that universe deserves. It's never had a true like AAA entry that would bring new blood and a lot of like mainstream attention to that. I think it's a really rich universe, and there's so much to potentially explore in that universe that I would absolutely make an RPG out of it for sure. I wouldn't feature it on the battlefields either. I'd probably feature it as an Inquisitor. So they're sort of like the super MI6 badasses who go around the place and, you know, fight heretical crime and things and all this business. That's very, very layman's terms for just the guys who are listening, but you get the general gist. So I would definitely do something like that.
I know plenty of people within the community that would agree with you. There's a lot of 40k fans. I can appreciate it just because obviously Warhammer, just the name. But anyway, that's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting once you start looking into or understanding video game development, how it can kind of get you interested in games that you never would have appreciated before.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yep. Cool.
Speaking of MMORPGs, is there anything that came out of E3 that you're interested in that regard?
Cyberpunk, my friend. I mean, when it comes to RPGs, that is the hotness right now is Cyberpunk 2077. I think most of the world in the gaming world is excited for that game, especially with the whole Keanu Reeves reveal being Johnny Silverhand in that. I mean, holy moly. They kept that one under wraps.
I finally watched where he walked out on stage and all that. And like,
it was a good press conference. He was genuinely excited to be there too. You know, he was. Yeah, I think he's a great choice.
Keanu's an awesome guy. I was already sold on the game before that reveal, based on Witcher 3. Did you play Witcher 3?
Oh yeah. I mean, I have to.
How many hundreds of hours?
It's a heresy because I've done it on stream, but I never really finished it. So I've got about 50, 60 hours in there, but I haven't actually finished the game. I really need to do it. So I know there are a couple of people who are going to now get on me after this going, yeah, remember that Witcher 3 run you never finished, Loken? Yeah, you should probably do that. But I know of how amazingly well written that game is, and CD Projekt Red are, I think, at the absolute apex of single-player RPG game creation right now. And actually the industry in general, you know, they really are up there. In terms of their quality of the product, but also how well they understand their audience. You know, they really get their audience, and they don't. When it comes in an industry right now, which is very heavy on predatory monetary transactions and a lot of predatory business practices, they are on a level which is just not anti-consumer. They want to make money. They don't operate for free. No one does, but they don't take they don't take people for a ride.
Yeah, I feel like I was mentioning this the other day, I think, I don't know if it was a podcast or a stream, that there's a very few, definitely can count them on just one hand, developers that consistently put out amazing product and can pretty much do whatever they want as far, like they don't have to basically do the predatory practices, monetization practices, because they just put out a great freaking game, charge you once for it, or if there is DLC. I was talking about Rockstar, and GTA and Red Dead. Pretty much they can just do whatever they want, and obviously they're one of those developers that can do that as well. They put out amazing product. There is a little controversy behind their practices with employees, but we won't get into that.
So that's a huge conversation for the time.
Yeah, but I played. I do have hundreds of hours in Witcher 3. I'm definitely looking forward to Cyberpunk.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else? Like, were you paying attention to E3, or do you just watch trailers?
No one was paying attention to E3. I mean, I streamed the 4 major press conferences. So I did the Xbox one, did the Ubisoft one, did the Bethesda one, did the Square Enix one. I didn't manage to do Nintendo, unfortunately, and Sony didn't have a presence this year, so sad face. And as for EA, well, yeah, moving on. So honestly, Xbox I think had a lot of really cool titles to show off. Some of them were third-party content, so that Cyberpunk was on their stage. That really kind of set their press conference off, if I'm honest. But that's coming out on PC, Xbox, and PS4. So it's a sort of a third-party thing. Halo Infinite looks great. The Master Chief Collection looks fantastic. What else looks good? God, there's a lot of stuff. Ubisoft, they've got a new Ghost Recon game coming out, which looks really rather wonderful. So that looks like a lot of fun.
Did you play Wildlands?
Yes, I did. Absolutely adored it. Now, that's one I did enjoy. I haven't got into the Division, but I loved Wildlands. There was sort of a chaotic, almost Just Cause vibe to it, which I just enjoyed the heck out of.
I liked it too.
Watch Dogs, new Watch Dogs 3, Legions, looks quite good. That's set in London as well, so it's got a bit of home field advantage for me. So, I'm looking forward to that. Bethesda was... That's all I can say. And, well, I mean, Square Enix had a lot of stuff to say about the Final Fantasy VII remake. That's looking like it's going to be... I'm actually really interested in it, because I played a bit of Final Fantasy VII, the original, and I found it... I like turn-based combat, but I found it a little challenging, because it was in this era where they were trying to experiment with 3D, and it's like 2.5D, and it's a little bit clunky for me. But this sort of new interpretation of it, where they've got a third-person hack and slash with tactics on the side, and it's a complete, proper, full-bore remake, it's got me interested. Gotta be honest. There was also a new intellectual property, actually. There's very little new IP this year. Very little new IP, which is a shame. But one that came from Square Enix was a new game called Outriders, I believe. And that looks like it's going to be cool. I mean, it was just a cool teaser trailer. We don't know anything about it yet, but we'll probably find out more soon.
Right on. Now, we know that you are a multi-game streamer. You play whatever it maybe tickles your fancy, something new coming out, check it out, whatever. We know you play MWO. You will be playing MechWarrior 5 when it comes out.
Oh, hell yeah.
And you said you're playing some Urban Warfare right now.
I have been, yeah.
So for BattleTech MechWarrior fans, you know where to find him. What might... You're playing some Final Fantasy today? You might be going back into that after this?
Yeah, so, I mean, for me personally, I'm very much a variety caster, I tend to have a bit of a sci-fi twist on whatever I play, because that's my favorite sort of genre, but I'm not against playing things like fantasy-oriented. So Final Fantasy and Guild Wars 2 are like 2 MMOs I'm kind of playing about with right now, seeing how they feel on the cast, so I'm just sort of experimenting with them as content. But I play things like Star Citizen, for example.
Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, Star Citizen Elite Dangerous, I've played. Anything that's new, so like, for example, I did Anno 1800 recently, I did Rage 2 when that came out. Again, just whatever. I like to always cover the new stuff, the new hotness, whatever it comes out. And again, I've been being in this industry now for 4 years. I'm lucky enough now to have a lot of contacts in a lot of places, so we can usually get access to them, which is lovely.
So what can people expect to see if they were to come check you out over the coming weeks?
Honestly, they can expect a bit more MechWarrior Online, because I always want to keep my mech bros happy. That's a huge community and a huge part of why we are where we are at the moment, and it's not something I'll ever forget. But again, looking at doing some more Final Fantasy 14, because I'm prepping for their new expansion pack coming out, which is called Shadowbringers. Might do some more Rage 2, I never know. Let's see if I want to see if we can find some shooters. Maybe some Destiny, seeing as Destiny had a massive announcement recently where the base game's going free to play and all sorts of stuff's changing. So actually take a look at Destiny again, maybe. So we'll there's a lot of content coming up, though, that's for sure.
Awesome, man. Did we just?
All right, yeah. I'm gonna have to unfuck it. It's so stupid. I'm so done with this. right now.
Phil's frustrated.
Yeah.
Rage!
This
is not cool. But
fuck you, Zoom. Anyway, okay, so now so that's what we have to look forward to over the coming weeks. Definitely thank you for being here, Loken. I'm sorry we can't have you on camera.
I want to pick his brain about Final Fantasy stuff and stuff. But then
do that out.
No, I've been trying to it's like, hey, just FYI, upgrade to Pro. We are upgraded to Pro. And
we are Pro.
And then you go to there and it's like
obviously.
And so I thought, well, maybe it's because we had launched it through the app, and I'm seriously annoyed right now.
Right. We'll let it go. Any final words that you would like to tell the NGNG audience, Loken, before we let you get back to your stream?
Honestly, I think a lot of the audience out there are from the mech community, and the mech community to me is very important. It's the biggest single community we've broken into as a broadcast, who have not only wholeheartedly welcomed us, but also really helped me as a person get to another level in terms of my content creation. And just thank you to everyone who supports the cast on a regular basis. You truly are everything to me personally, and also I'm sure to Phil and Daeron as well. You know, the community is everything. But
amen.
Yeah, just thank you for all the support, and stay tuned, because there's a lot more stuff coming down the pipeline for us. I've always intended to take it as far as I can go, so fingers crossed. That's all I can say.
And
well, we appreciate
and soon YouTube.
Yes,
yeah,
YouTube.
Soon
yes, YouTube as well.
Damn right. Stay on him, Phil. Well, we appreciate having you in the community, man. Totally. Obviously, that's why you got the invite to MechCon last year. And we hope to keep you here for as long as possible. Not in this podcast, but here in the community. Anyway, we appreciate it, man. Thank you for being here.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. I really do. I love you guys. We've been friends for a little while now, so
love you too, buddy.
It's a pleasure to have come on.
Okay, and so he is going to resume streaming. We're going to let him go do that as soon as we wrap it up here. You can check that out. Twitch.tv/LokenPlays. You can also check him out on Twitter at LokenPlays, Instagram at LokenPlays, and LokenPlays.com. Soon YouTube at LokenPlays as well.
Yep.
As Phil mentioned. And Phil, you want to take us out?
Oh, Zoom. I'm Loken. It's been a pleasure, dude.
Always
obviously totally enjoy streaming with you. Patch day is coming up, so got another date on that. And of course, look forward to more memories, and of course, YouTube. But anyways, just want to say thank you to everyone out there. If you are new, make sure to click that follow button. Some quick shout outs. Thank you again for all the resubs. Speaking of which, this podcast is literally supported by you, by viewers like you. If you'd like to consider supporting, there's a variety of ways. You can subscribe to our Twitch channel. You can sub to Loken's Twitch channel. You'd appreciate that too. Also, we do have a Patreon. We will be updating the Patreon within the next few months as well. We've got a store. Did you know that? We've got a store. We've got merch. Click on that link down below. Go order a shirt, a mug, a hoodie, whatever you want to do. Swag going. Also, if you're going to be shopping on Amazon, we've got an affiliate link down below as well. And of course, right now, by all of the games that just were announced, like pretty much on E3 on Amazon, and all those are down below too. And that, say thank you again. Quick shout out again to Loken. We will be hosting him, so if you just stick around right after the action with Loken.
Yeah, thank you again, Loken.
My pleasure, guys.
Quick shout out to Joe. We did it, Joe. Another podcast. More to come. Be sure to check out our website at NoGutsNoGalaxy.net. Check us out on Twitch at NGNGTV. Check us out at YouTube at NoGutsNoGalaxy TV. Twitter at NoGutsNoGalaxy. Facebook at NoGutsNoGalaxy Podcasts. SoundCloud at NoGutsNoGalaxy. See, Loken, what I'm talking about? This sucks.
Oh, yeah.
And for all the latest and greatest in mech porn, t-shirts, and mugs, be sure to check out NoGutsNoGalaxyStore.com.
This was your local No Guts, No Galaxy MechWarrior podcast. Signing off for tonight. This is Phil.
And this is Daeron.
Until next time, Mech Warriors.
Peace. I couldn't salute with you.
No?
I timed it perfectly, but you can't see.
It was marvelous.
It was glorious one way or another.